I'm Anjanette, and this is Lorilet Monegro, and we are Soul's Code. So we just wanted to just chat with you about real life situations. I don't know about you, Lorilet, but when I turn on the news, it's a little unnerving. Some of the things that I
Oh,
hear going on around the world, just crazy, crazy stuff,
mm,
someone was, killed a couple of years ago. That's what I was listening to on the news, and he doesn't have to stand trial because he's not mentally fit, but he was fit enough to be walking around the city of New York. So um the mayor here in New York is talking about spending 65 million or $1 billion on these shelters that are going to help them and help the homeless and help the men, the but not everybody that's homeless has a mental health issue. So I don't know how, if he's doing things separate or, you know, but when you look at them having trouble with the deficit, and you look at them having trouble not knowing if they're going to be able to come up with that money, right? So that they're always pushed towards the end. Will we be able to come up with this? But they're talking about pulling $65 million out of their ass. So I say to myself, hmm, what am I missing? Because if they're printing money, our dollar value has none, right? So, what are your thoughts about all the craziness that's going on in the world? The other day on the news, this some
mm,
this guy who I guess was inebriated, because that's his defense, um, just set this poor woman on fire and she died. She fell asleep on the train and he just set her on fire, and then few minutes later in the news, these men are going in and just robbing whole ATMs. Like there's no control. There's like impulse control is like all out the window. People are just doing whatever they want to do and thinking it's acceptable. So I want to know when in life that these things became acceptable. Where I was that day at school, where you could just go in, take an ATM machine, one was even while the guy was in the store. Hi, I want this, so I'm going to go over there and just take it. So when did people just get all this outright audacity where they think that anything is acceptable and anything can go? And then last week we were talking about acceptance. So how do you accept this stuff because this affects everybody, you know, kids that
absolutely.
have to go to school and get on trains, and because a lot of kids commute through the public transportation, through
Mhm,
to buses and trains to get to their schools. A lot of zoning issues, people, schools closed, kids were rezoned, and they're hearing these things on the news. So
mhm,
from a child, from a parent's point of view,
mhm,
I can't even imagine what these children
mhm.
think.
Right.
What's your take on all this?
Okay. I think that people who know me know that I believe like that we should have a sense of justice. And the sense of justice comes from, of course, a certain way of understanding what is right and wrong in terms of knowing that when you've wronged someone, you definitely haven't made them whole. Sometimes now we're equating the idea of social justice with permissiveness. And what I find very um, hard to swallow is that they're not one or the same. They're not. And unfortunately, we're getting a lot of that ideology where these ideas come across initially as good intention. But the problem with it is you can't make someone whole at the expense of someone else and call it justice, right? Because where someone's sense of freedom begins, someone's sense of freedom may end if we haven't learned to coexist. And this is why we need to have better conversations around not only what society as a whole should be in terms of what are the rules of engagement, right? It's kind of like we have social contracts in life. For example, a marriage or the social rules of engagement that If I go to work, I pay taxes, right? We have certain social agreements that are the way societies are run. When we now create a situation where we say, well, we can't deliver justice. Someone who has wronged someone else can get away with that and not make the other party whole, and that's justice. It's actually quite abusive. It's quite abusive. And so this is where we're seeing a shift. And this is all being called justice. All of it is being called justice. So when you got justice that becomes relative to the different kinds of situations, then you really have no justice at all. You really don't, because you set a standard and people meet you there. And because we have now gotten rid of any standards, anything goes. Anything goes. You want to walk naked? Go ahead, be my guest. You know, is that what we should be subjected to? I don't think so.
I think that freedoms should be in place, that people should have the freedom to be authentic and be themselves. But at the same time, a lot of these freedoms violate other freedoms, right? So um, let's take something basic, like the boy girl bathroom, right? Let's take something basic like that. I don't care what your gender is. It doesn't bother me if you're a girl or a boy, or if you're a boy that wants to be a girl or a girl that wants to be a boy. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. What bothers me is that you're telling me that I have to look at your penis because you want to use my bathroom, right? Because in the girls' bathroom, I have doors around me. Nobody's sitting there watching me pee,
Right.
right? And I'm not
Yeah.
sitting there
Yep.
watching anybody else pee, because there should be that some. So our privacy is taken away to give you your freedom. So I didn't want to get, and I understand that there's been a lot of bias against people. I totally get that. I
I,
totally understand that there's so many injustices going on in the world, but by giving in, by creating justice for them, like you said, they really are taking away justices for others.
well, the issue is that if someone wants to identify as X, you know how X means anything? Well, go ahead, be my guest, be X, but be X in the X bathroom. Whereas a person like, let's say I identify myself as a woman, purely a woman, and I identify myself as heterosexual, purely heterosexual, you should not have to have a debate with me about that. You should let my identity be just as much as I let your identity be. However, you cannot now go ahead and engage in some discussion and wonder about my menstruating factors or not, just as I don't care about anybody else's menstruating factors or whatever. And I say that because you know what? I feel like it has become almost like this, oh, but me, but that, but me. And there shouldn't be any argument. There should be a third choice for people who feel they want and a free for all. And it's fine. Go ahead, be my guest. Be there. You're free. You can go and you do that. But you should not have access to privacy where people, as me, for example, say I'm heterosexual and I am a woman, want to go to a woman's bathroom. Why should I have to be denied of that? Why does it have to be a denial of any? Why? Why do you have to deny me of that privilege? Why? You could have your privilege. The law is enough right now, flexible enough, that says that yes, that you can be. So then be that, and let also people who want to be purely women be women. Why is that difficult? I don't understand. I really don't understand. Like there's no need for it to be an argument. I have no idea when this became an argument for who.
But it seems to be an argument because they're fighting for their justice, but in some
But
way,
they can. I don't think,
but they should definitely be able to have their freedoms and their justice
absolutely.
just like anybody else. I would never take that away from anybody. Whatever, I really believe that these people who feel like they were born that way, they know what's going on in their body, and nobody else does, and nobody can tell them how they feel or how to represent themselves. I'm all
Absolutely.
for them expressing themselves,
Yes.
but
But yeah, it
I
shouldn't be
don't
suppressing.
feel that my rights should be
Take it
violated, that
away.
that you should be able, I gotta walk out and look at your penis or things like
It's
that.
it's not fair to us. It's really
And
not.
then when you're told, but they'll tell you, well, you don't have to look at his penis. You can go in the single bathroom over there. So now you're the one that has to go and find another bathroom, which is, I don't know. But
It's just it's just a strange ideology that even in numbers, the prevalence and the number of women that we have. I'm just going to speak as a woman, right? I'm not going to be here disputing because this is not at all an argument pro or against. It's not my thing, so I'm not into it. I want everybody to be as free as they can be, but it shouldn't be a freedom that now stops me from being who I am. Why do I now not get the privilege of going into a bathroom and just using it like my womanhood way that I want to use it with the privacy of being a woman and respected for being such and identifying as such? Why is that so hard? Why? And why is that the point of contention? Why can't it be okay here for anyone else for uh non-assigned,
binary.
non-assigned of any kind? No, for anybody that wants to go, meaning anybody and their mother, right? Like they say, anybody. Because you know what? I'm not going to go into the whole alphabet for it. I'm saying whoever. Why can't that be a choice? Why is that like a problem? Because I find that this has become a very strange conversation when it doesn't have to be. Why does it have to be, especially us women? We suffer the brunt of this. We're seeing the women's sports, but women are the ones that are like being forced to give up their existence, their right, their space, their energy, their identity, their everything. And it's so strange. It's so strange to me.
I think there's just so much confusion around the world. Everybody has a fight. Everybody has an agenda. Women wanted to write or to vote, and women wanted to do this, and women wanted to do that, and now we have those rights, being taken away too, where we don't have the right to do which is just bizarre. You
It
don't
is
have the
bizarre.
right to make decisions for your body, but you can change your sex, use any bathroom you
Right.
want, or do
That's why
whatever
it's
you want,
weird.
but you don't have a choice. You can change your sex,
It's
but you don't
weird.
have the right to decide what to do with your body. It doesn't make sense. So
Doesn't make
there's
sense.
all these misconceptions about what we can and we can't do. But I think as women, we do have to rally together, you know, and it's not about whether, if you're binary
Oh no, it's
or
not
not.
about that. I
Because
really,
we could
I
care
don't
less,
identify
really.
as any of that personally. I know I'm a heterosexual
Even
and a woman.
on those
That's it.
things where they ask you if you identify as she, he, and it, I don't even play into that
It
because
doesn't matter.
I have a name, use my name, right?
That's it. Like it's not about, I don't lead with my sexuality. To be honest with you, my sexuality is a very private matter to me. And I personally, whoever wants to lead that way, they're welcome to it and nobody's going to stop them. I
But
personally am not.
I do understand. But those protections, you also have to understand the other side of it too.
I do.
Those protections were put in place because people were very belligerent and mean to a lot of these people, where they were
And
afraid
I
to
get it.
go to the bathroom in their own bathrooms because they were made fun of and tormented and stuff like that. Because people are bullies, you know. People,
I
if you're
got
not
it.
like them, they don't understand it. Then if it's too hard for them to grasp, and you're different, they are very racist against anything that's not like them.
Anything that's different. Yep.
Yes, so
And that's why
I
I'm
get that.
saying that even having a bathroom that is just neutral, meaning anyone, can go to. Just I'm giving an example in terms of the bathroom. Like I'm no expert in any of this. I'm just giving my personal opinions on a subject matter that seems to make everybody so like whatever. And I'm like, I don't understand why it's even a problem because it shouldn't be. It's like it's as easy as just taking any one of the extra bathrooms that exist and putting anyone can go in here, the end. Like this is not that hard. It doesn't, I don't understand. Why
But
does
I
this have to
think the
be
more, so
difficult?
I want to know how you feel about this. The more that they draw attention to things and injustices, the more injustices that seem to come out of them. Because and I know that sounds bizarre, but when they're fighting for one person's freedom over here, these people lose freedom over here. And you shouldn't sacrifice anybody. So there has to be something that benefits everybody because we everybody has to live together, you know, and acceptance that we were talking about last week is a big part of this.
Yes.
I'm not in this world to live up to anybody's expectations. I could give shit less who likes me and who doesn't. What they want to call me, I don't care. I have a given name. If you don't call me by that name, I'm not answering you. So
Right.
it doesn't it doesn't matter to me, right?
Right.
And I've had people call me things, trust me. So just today, as a matter of fact. but
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 again, I
I
think
don't
that
let it upset me. But I think that there's so much craziness. Even let's take the whole mental health issue that's going on. So years ago, they used to mandate them into a facility, and it was said that they didn't. That was against their rights. So we don't have a right to lock them away. We don't have a right to make them take medicine. We don't have a right to do this to them.
I
But
don't know
but then
how they're
if
gonna get
you're
treatment.
worried about their rights, okay, that's fine because they have rights and they're entitled to those rights. But what about the person that got set on fire? Where are their rights?
I don't know. That's why I'm saying it doesn't make sense. Because fundamentally, if someone is ill, that means they are not able to um
Make rational decisions.
with actual forethought in any process of it, they can't really make judgment, right? They aren't able to weigh in and out of the pros and cons of decisions.
Well, there
They
are
are
different
not
levels
able
of
to do
mental
that.
illness.
No,
So,
but I'm saying in general, if you're having a mental illness, whatever kind of imbalance, you are obviously needing some support. So the idea that you could just be like, nope, we do nothing, they gotta go get it, is a little bit odd because they're impaired. It's like me telling someone, well, you're drunk driving, but it's okay. You will find your way there, even though you're drunk as drunk can be. Like,
I
no,
agree. I
like
agree with you. I agree with you. There's very, very poor
go help
systems
yourself.
in very, very poor systems in place. And everybody in America will experience some form of mental illness at one time of their life or not. Anxiety, depression, they're all just little minute pieces of depression. I mean, of mental illness. Now, anyone, I think that some mental illnesses are people that reach their breaking points, right? Hormonal imbalances, maybe because of lack of nutrition and things like that. But they do need that support. And no one's saying to lock them away or throw away the key, but if they're not
No.
safe and they have the potential risk to hurt other people, then there needs to be a better intervention because I don't think anybody can explain to that family member how their child or their mom, because I believe it was a woman, how she's no longer here because somebody that was drunk and a little mentally incapable um
Decided to.
just decided to light you on fire. So, and he was, from what I understand, and I might be reading this the wrong way, that they were saying he was impaired, he wasn't in his right mind. Those thoughts, whether you're drinking or not, they have to be there. There has to be a root for them. Nobody just thinks about, oh, gee, let me set somebody on fire. there has to be some underlying something there. I mean, because I could be inebriated out of my brain, and the thought of setting somebody on fire would never cross my mind.
Well, I mean, I don't know the person in terms of their clinical whatever, so, but I do know that regardless, this act was committed. Like, what are we gonna do? Act like it never happened? It doesn't matter whether he has, don't have, what level, what not. We need to be understanding that there are victims, right? And even if this person is also in some way a victim of some sort of trauma or some sort of things, it doesn't negate the act. And this is what I'm saying, that this idea of justice is not okay when we act like, oh, well, he has PTSD or he has whatever, or he has childhood trauma or he has whatever the problem is. I'm not negating it. But what about the person that just died? Don't they need to be made whole too? One thing should not negate the other. It should not.
I agree, and
But
I think there
somehow
should.
we don't find that understanding that that's a real gross violation of justice to tell someone, well, the person is mentally ill and tough luck. Like, that's not cool. No.
Not on any level is that cool. But it's happening, and it really worries me because there's no censorship on behavior. People are just doing whatever they want to do, and they're getting away with it. So you look at even the policing, they wanted to defund the police, and now you want to call them because you need help, right? Now
I
you
don't
want
know
to
how they're
stick them
gonna
on the
want to call them.
subways. Um, but I remember even back, I think it was during COVID. It was after some incident with the police where the police were found to have done
These
something
extremes are
wrong.
not good. That's all I know. These extremes are not good. And they don't serve the purpose that they claim to serve. They don't.
No, they
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 don't.
destroy
But
our
but
society. They
I have
destroy our society.
my future son-in-law is a police. He's a cop, right? So um and he's saying that, they arrest them and they're right back on the street the next day.
But they're
He said,
doing
so
their he's
why
doing
are
his
we
job.
bothering? Why do they need us? They're in and out. So you'll hear on the news that this guy that just killed, a whole family had been
Who should we
arrested 5 times
well,
previously for
who should we be calling?
serious crimes, and yet they're on the street.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's not justice in my understanding of what justice should be. That's not justice.
No,
That's not
it's not
justice, not even
justice.
for that person, because obviously that person is a cry for help that they need to be doing this. They have a compulsion, something that they can't uh, course correct. So obviously that's a person. It's not even justice for them. Forget about the person that has been wrong. It's not even a justice for them. And this is why, to me, this is a lot of nonsense, in the sense that it doesn't really take context into matter. And context is highly important to understand meaning and extract meaning from things. If a person is impaired, even in that sense of understanding that their action has an impact on someone else, that tells you half of the story, right? And that is a cause for concern. We should be creating a society where we are able to feel safe. We're able to feel that we can interact with each other. And when we're not understanding each other, there should be interventions in place for those needs. That person doing this 5 times has some serious need. And don't tell me that we're creating a more just society because we turn a blind eye and now he gets to go ahead and escalate the level of call for need and help. Because that's what that is. I do it first with, let's say, an animal, then I do it with 2 dogs, and now I'm going to kill 3 pets, and now I feel like I'm going to kill a whole family. You tell me if that's not crying for help and attention. And so I feel like, we have people who have decided to turn a blind eye, and they're not really helping society. Permissiveness is not justice. Permissiveness breeds chaos in a society, and eroding the sense of safety is not a process of how you achieve uh, a society that loves each other. Disrespect does not allow for love to flourish. That's impossible to do. And every time we go around wronging people and not fulfilling a sense of remorse or a sense of
There's no
wholeness
remorse today.
for
There's
either
no remorse
party.
today. And I think this comes back to a sense of needs not being met by the in the community.
100%.
I mean, we all have that basic need of love and belonging, but
Yep.
when you talk about that erosion in society, there is
Bad.
no, it's like everybody's out for themselves. There is no love and belonging. Nobody feels like they belong because how can you belong in a corrupt society where everything around you is creating fear? You can't because there's
You
no
can't.
safety in that society.
Right.
So this is what's going on, and we're living in the middle of
Yeah, I mean
it.
that's what's going on in some to some degree. And I also think on the other side, that there are people who go out there, having great intentions and they're positive and they're wishing to work hard and leave a legacy and support people who are in dire need. But we do have to start rethinking what are we doing? Because what we're doing is definitely not working. When we don't respect each other, when we don't create a society that allows for respect to happen, for justice to happen, but justice, not one-sided justice in either way. And this is not about black or white or Hispanic or whoever. No, no, no. Just know these, none of this one-sided, I do whatever I want kind of mentality, because we're not little islands. We're people. And what we do impacts one another. There's an interconnection. So every time somebody's out there committing some crazy act, we have to start sending a way of like, hey, what is going on here? We should all be concerned. We should all be wondering. We should all be coming up with solutions. We should be having more town hall meetings regarding what solutions do we need. We have a lot of top-down approaches telling us, yeah, this is what you need in a society that's falling apart. And I don't see how that's progress. That's not progress. If I cannot go out to the street and feel safe, that is not a progressive society. That is not a more civilized society. That is not a more whole society. That is not a more loving society. That is a society that's become a jungle and its rejection of the entirety of human representation. So it's a problem.
You think?
We need to start thinking about this. We need to start thinking about this because it impacts everything, the future. I think of
But
the
it does,
children.
but a lot of times what they do is they talk a good talk, but they're not putting in the footsteps.
They're not.
It's all talk. So I'm
Yep.
so tired of the talk that you're gonna spend all this money
It's
because
just symbolic.
that just putting money on a situation. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna set up a bunch of shelters because you
You know
listen,
what?
half the homelessness that's going on right now, they created.
More than money, give me the data on it. How
Listen,
many
but
programs do
all
we
the
have and there's
homelessness
no
that's going
data
on. When you look at the
on
numbers in New
anything?
York,
What have they done?
I mean, to even live in New York, it's ridiculously priced, and it's more of a shithole than it's ever been. So it's just
Well,
it is it's a
all I know
shithole.
is I think 2025, a lot of people are gonna be coming up with creative ways to leave out. Why? Because not only are the tolls insane, because that's another combo.
But it's just ridiculous. Listen,
It's just this whole mess. Like
our
people want to feel
taxes,
safe.
listen, our paychecks are cut in half, and then they find creative ways to take the other half with taxes, tolls, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, I mean, so I'm concerned because they were talking, I did geriatrics for a long time, right? And um, I see that a lot of these elderly people wind up on a fixed, because of a fixed income in nursing homes and stuff like
Oh,
that. But they were talking about the level of homelessness that 33% of the global nation is homeless. And 17% of them, which is half,
mhm,
are elderly people. So they've worked their whole life. And now you've made it so the cost of living,
mhm.
that social security they worked their whole life for, doesn't even support them, and they've paid you taxes for 65 years and you're telling me it doesn't support them. So it just doesn't make sense. I can't wrap my head around that.
Many
But
things don't make sense.
what?
Many things don't make sense to common sense people.
But so I just feel like it's such shit, and it's such a rude awakening to be seeing all these things going on, you know. Like
Sad,
I live
actually.
here in Riverdale, and I can tell you 3 times a year they pull up the street, the exact same street. I've never seen any changes happening on that street. Never looks any better. Just always looks like the same street. And they're pulling it up 3 times every year. So maybe if you haven't fixed it by now, you're calling somebody else who knows what's going on under that sheet, right?
Okay. I'm
Right?
talking
Because
about where are the outcomes. That's what I'm saying. They have all these
that's
programs.
what I'm saying. All they're doing,
No
that's what I'm
outcomes.
saying. All they're doing is putting patches on things like this. You're just patching up bad things. And sooner or later, that dam is going to break and
I
everything is going to
know.
come rushing. And I think that's what we're experiencing in society. I think that there's so much anger and animosity and so many other things that are just pushing people to their points. So I think that anybody in society, any human being, is capable of things that they might not normally be capable of when they're pushed to those points. And I think all of those buttons have been pushed. And I think all these things that are going on around us are the outcomes of those buttons being pushed for so long, you know, and those doors closing in people's faces all the time. And they just can't take anymore. Right. And, so, and I think we need to examine that because, you say you're going to help with this 65 million or $1 billion, but you kind of added 100,000 people to that homeless population. Oh yeah, we'll take them in, but now what are you going to do with them? Right? Are you going to educate them? Are you going to give them
That's
a
what I'm
job?
saying. The fact that there's no wrap around anything, that things are done, I'm going to use this word half-ass. Well, you get half-ass outcome. If there's no real desire to sit down and literally deal with things in a very methodical and precise way, it's total waste, right? Emergency mode responds to things as opposed to long-term build up towards a long-term solution and being able to make people whole. Again, this idea that we continue to be so unfair, unjust on so many levels just breeds resentment. And this is part of what happens, right? It creates these silent um, energies of anger, okay, that then create the conflict and chaos that you see manifested. It's not like magic. We are balls of energy walking around. And unfortunately, I'm not saying something that is fundamentally wrong. Any physicist can go look it up, any chemist can go look it up and explain it better than I could. But I know, even from a spiritual standpoint, what all of this entails is that we need to work a little bit better with each other. We need to start realizing that there needs to be a humanistic understanding, right? There needs to be this awareness of, you know what? Just like it's not right for this person with mental illness to walk around slashing, hurting, and damaging because hurt people hurt others, it's also not right that the person that was hurt now gets to go home. Oh, you got a boo-boo, tough luck, right? Because it's just, that's
No,
not
she's
okay.
she's not going home. She died.
No, I
So
know, but I'm just giving you an example, right?
but
Like,
that's what I'm
it's
saying. And
horrendous.
he's not going to stand trial because he was, inebriated
I
and
don't know.
mentally not capable
Imagine.
at the moment. So he's not going to stand trial, and that's what keeps happening. And then you have the jail system overpopulated with people for marijuana charges from God knows how long ago, or stupid little petty things that really don't belong there. And now it's murder is acceptable. So
Yeah,
there's
there's something
no
really
there's
wrong.
no consistency in justice. There's none.
Right. That's why relativism doesn't work. And that's why we need to have a standard and people need to meet us there.
Yeah.
All of us need to meet us there, right? If there's a
We have
standard,
to start creating that standard.
yeah, we do. We have to start thinking about what that means as a collective, right? It's
But
important because we
people
owe
are
each other that.
free, people are free to have those conversations, and I don't know why,
Because, people get attacked. Like, God knows, 500,000 people may think, what is she thinking? Why should that be not whole? Well, no, I want the girls' bathroom and the boys' bathroom and the whatever, because they failed to process what I've said. I don't care which bathroom. Just to give you an example, how people make weird comments. I don't care which bathroom. I'm just saying, stop forcing women to give up their own freedoms. Do whatever you want with the bathrooms. Create a third bathroom. How about that? But no, they will never hear that sentence. They'll say, that lady said that, this, that, the other. No, I did not. I did not say that. Please listen and process what I said, not what you wish to hear,
but
right?
but I agree with you
That's how it
100%
is.
because I don't think that I should have to share that
I don't.
bathroom. And
As a woman, I want my privacy. Are you
I
kidding me?
want my privacy, and I think I'm entitled to that. And and that even in my house, it's not like I go to the bathroom with the
No.
door open, you know.
That's what I'm saying. That some of these things that people say out
I
there
mean,
are
that's
like so
bizarre. Why
bizarre.
do you think I should watch you go to the bathroom?
It's like, I don't
You
want to
know?
do that. No, thank you.
So, and and my husband's a man, and
Listen, even
guess
my
what?
own family, I don't want to watch them. I don't want to see them. No, no, thank you.
Be careful, they might take that out of context too. Um,
No, meeting in the
I
bathroom.
I know what you mean, but I just think that we're focusing on these stupid little issues when there's so many greater issues that are going on in the world. And I feel that's kind of the government's whole game, to focus on
I don't
these
know whose
little
game is it, but somebody's making.
but let's focus on these little justices over here and give them a little kiss, and over here
Weird.
we can create whatever we want because there's no
Weird.
community, there's no fostering relationships
Oh, everybody's
inside of
fighting each other.
communities. You hear stories about communities coming together, like um I'm in the Bronx, and COVID really brought everybody out in full. And, you hear about these fires happening all over the world, and you see all these people saying, oh, be safe. And, you know, um, and the president sending all these people over there to help and all that stuff. And,
Really
but we have
chaotic
we have
times.
fighters here too. Somebody on Allison Avenue that lost their building and 100 people are homeless. So, it's not that I don't empathize or sympathize with the people in California, but um collectively we got to care about everyone,
Yes,
you
and
know
that's why I
and
said what I
and
said.
part of that is caring for your own first. So um and I feel like, well, I just feel like the United States is always minding somebody else's business and it doesn't belong there. And that I've been feeling, it doesn't, it's none of your damn business, stay out of it, you know what I mean? Stay in
Well,
your damn lane. And they're
mm,
always getting involved in other people's politics and business and stuff like that. And you got to clean up your side of the street before you can worry about somebody else's. And right
I
now,
don't know that that's the
the
agenda,
United
though.
States side of the street ain't looking so lovely. It
It's
really
looking
ain't.
quite messy.
Yeah, we need a really big steam cleaner to come through here, right? And shake
And a nice
everybody up.
vacuum. No, and a nice vacuum. There's a
Yeah,
lot of dirt. We
yeah,
need we need like a major vacuum cleaning.
yeah.
And then we need like,
Major. We need to whitewash
then
the
we need
United
a
States.
power washer.
Yeah,
We
that's
need
what I was
power
trying. I
wash,
was thinking
power
of
wash.
power wash.
I have a
They
plan.
call it whitewash when they do the houses.
Well, I don't
Um,
know if it's whitewash or whatever. I know it's
Power
power
wash, but
washing.
whatever.
You know,
But yeah, keep it out there for a while. Keep
because
that hose
man,
on.
everything is a mess. It's upside
I keep
down.
you running. I keep you running.
Been
All right,
working all
so
day since 5 a.m.
let's
or
close
4.
this. So we're talking about a lot of stuff. We were talking
We're
about the
just here having
crazy.
fun today. I hope people
I know. Listen, you
lighten
can't.
up and realize that we're just kind of like anybody, just like wondering what the heck is going on around the
I
world.
know, and nothing we ever say here is.
These are just opinions.
These are our opinions, and
Yeah, and so people have to,
and and
take it
yeah,
easy.
we're just concerned with what's going on around the world, and um we don't condone bad behavior of any kind.
No, it's not right. You don't go
we
around
we
doing
don't we
damages to
don't
people.
condone bad behavior,
Nah,
we're not those people do as I say, not as I do type
nah.
people either. um we
Why,
really
why,
do believe in justice for
yeah,
everybody,
why
and
damage people? Why hurt them? Like, what is all this
I yeah,
about?
but so I mean, the thought to help, even with the bathroom, the thought to help was there to stop them from being belligerent
They
and
should not be bullied. They should be respected
absolutely
because a
not.
human being is a human being, period.
Yeah,
But you cannot
but
go
you
around
shouldn't you
taking the
shouldn't
rights of women.
accost somebody for their beliefs. Like that would be like someone telling me everything we just said, yelling at me or calling me all kinds of names because of my beliefs, right? So, however they're comfortable, whatever their beliefs are, that's
Whatever it
fine.
is,
But there
that's their
needs to be a
choice.
line between what your beliefs are and mine. And just because we're different doesn't mean you have a right to cross your boundaries and interfere on mine. Because
Right.
boundaries are boundaries. You're
Yep,
entitled to keep your boundaries, and I'm entitled to keep mine, right?
that's right.
So, and
That's
we,
keeping the peace.
yeah, but we got to be respectful of everybody. And these systems is set up, and they're thinking about the one, not the many.
Yep.
And it's got to be something that is congrusive to everybody, something that is going to benefit everybody.
I actually think they do it on purpose. They want us like that,
I think they
angry,
do
all
it
kinds
to
of
make
things.
us fight and
Yeah,
keep
I
us
think they do it on
busy
purpose.
so that we're not looking at what they're doing, which is
Yep.
probably a shit show. I mean, when they better think about they better think about cleaning up the jail systems because half of our politicians are on their way there, right? So
Again, that's why I said what I said. It's interesting and it's kind of sad. Our communities need love. Our communities need to be cared for. Our communities need to have great schools. People need to have access to great education, to great sports, to great after school and possibility. People need to feel that when they work, their money that they make pays for the costs of living, not that they're working and they're worse, like just tired when they get home because the money that they made doesn't even cover the expense of living.
the
Rent
expense,
should
I
be,
agree.
commensurate with the ability to afford living in a city, being able to have a family and procreate in healthy ways. We should be addressing all of these different kinds of real, tangible life quality issues as opposed to doing all the nonsense that I feel like we are
And
doing.
you have so many
You know,
people that are living on the streets and
it's not
begging
right.
for basics and necessities
Not
because
right.
it's not right. It's really not right, and it breaks my heart to
It's not.
see what's going on, and how everything,
It's basic humanity.
yeah.
Basic humanity. Why have we gotten this bad? Like,
Well,
what
that people
is
are
going on?
comfortable with it, with like if you ride the trains, there's homeless people sleeping all over the trains,
Right, but
riding
I'm
back.
saying that how did that happen? That we got so comfortable with that scene. That's what I'm saying. We got comfortable as a society,
It's very
got
unfortunate.
comfortable with that scene. And it's like, wow, wow, wow. How did
Yeah.
we get this comfortable? And it's like something's really wrong. Something's really wrong. We have all the signs of a very sick society. And we have many different areas from which to just basically, it's not criticism. These are observations. I'm not criticizing because if it were me and I had all the solutions, I'll tell you, I would budget differently. And every time they slash from education, instead of saying, no, we need an educated society, we need a global society, we need a multilingual society, we need to be able to have access to great health care, we need to have access to great living. We need to create wonderful spaces where people can have dignity and be people, and we all be treated as people and stop creating all these classism and all these craziness that we've been doing. Next, I feel like everybody should go check the billionaire cemetery. I really do. I'm sure that what they'll find there is just simply amazing, marvelous. Let's go check it out, the billionaire cemetery. This nonsense of us human beings, each other, treating each other the way we do, these societal structural ways of oppressing people, we need to have a real rethinking of what are we doing and how is this benefiting anybody here? How?
Yeah, it's people having those conversations. We're gonna leave it there though. It's getting late. It's
And I do
Friday
want them to
night.
go check out the Billionaire Cemetery.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting spot to go check.
Okay. I've never heard of the billionaire secretary cemetery. Um, So, but guys, we want to thank you for coming in and listening to us. But we think that by having these conversations, that somebody out there will hear it, maybe be inspired and to step up in their society and have more conversations like these. Because if we don't have these conversations, if nothing changes, nothing
Nothing
changes.
changes.
So, thanks for joining us here on Soul's Code. Have an amazing night and good night.
Ciao.